Minicamp is over, and Lamar said this, that, and much more on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Yes, thank you all for coming through to this episode 245 of the Purple Rain Podcast. Corey Harris episode, Brandon Byer episode, Lamont Brightfold, DeAndre Houston, Carson, Christian Matthew, and Jalen Ferguson. May he rest in peace. Episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you all once again for coming through. We actually have a good amount to talk about with minicamp finally over, and it's the last time we'll see the Ravens on the field until late July, which is training camp, which is over basically a month and a half away. So 6 weeks from that, and it'll be kind of another dead period of that, but hopefully we get a signing or two to kind of talk about it. But you can follow us on Instagram down below you see at the Purple Rain Podcast. This guy over here on Instagram, on X at Sutton Def. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on X at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. I was at the Orioles game today. Very, very, very hot. And you know what that means. So if you want to keep yourself clean, keep yourself cut nice, go to Manscaped. Use code PRP, 20% off your whole order, and free international shipping. But Sutton, it's Thursday, almost end of the week. How are you doing? How's your week been?
I'm good. You've been going to a lot of O's games lately, haven't you?
It's only my third one this year, 1 and 2 on them. All right, but yes, love a good Orioles game.
Yeah. I've actually noticed a lot of my friends have been going to Orioles games. I guess I haven't even checked like the kids lately. I've been wanting to catch like a Friday night game. I think I was telling you the other week, but yeah. I mean, I've been good. I want to catch one of those Orioles games with you, so I'll be hitting the next couple of weeks or something like that. We can hash something out. But I've been good. Yeah. This week. News about the Ravens. We're getting into like cinematic highlight tapes of the off season, where we get the throws and the catches from Lamar Jackson to whoever. And one stood out this week for sure. That kind of is like the highlight of my week. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, Alex. The one is Zay Flowers. That one is Zay Flowers
Mm-hmm.
over the top, just beautiful spiral on the ball, beautiful placement, and then Zay Flowers goes up, gets it over the defender. Pretty well contested, and comes down with his both in. That was exciting as hell to watch. I mean, Zay Flowers, a lot of people are speculating is going to be wide receiver one. I'm hoping for the same thing. I know it's only mid-June. We got to see what these guys look like in training camp. What they look like in preseason, especially some of the younger guys. But I'm optimistic. So I'll that stamp on this week. I'm feeling optimistic about our Ravens this week, and we've got, like you said, a lot to get into. But before we do that, we want to bring up everybody who's in the live chat. Of course, our moderator K Dog is in full effect here tonight on this episode 245 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We appreciate you, brother. Says please smash that like button. It's free and it helps these guys a ton. Of course, of course. Thank you so much, K Dog. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. And he's spitting facts. Go ahead and leave a like on this video. If you are enjoying the content. I know we're just getting started, but maybe if you've watched a couple of our videos and you're, kind of on the fence about liking one or not, you know, maybe consider. Maybe consider. We'd appreciate it. Okay. We got Christian House says, "What's up, Rain Gang?" Sutton and Alex. What's going on, Taquan? Cam the Baptist
What's going on?
is typically part of the replay gang, but he's catching a live episode. So shout out to him.
Thank you.
Giving a shout out to the replay gang as well. We got Ravens Talk with Yolanda in the house. Says, "Good evening, Rain Gang. What's going on, Yolanda?
What's going
Appreciate
on?
you coming." Cam says, "Make sure the kids eat." Yeah, you gotta like the video. Like the
Yeah,
video, the kids
yeah.
won't eat. The kids not eating if you don't like the video. So, you know, do with that what you will. Okay. But again, if you are part of the hashtag replay gang, you're not watching this episode live. Hello, thank you so much for joining the episode. Make sure you comment down below any questions, comments, concerns you may have with anything that Alex or I say here tonight, or morning, afternoon, whenever you may be listening. Okay, so mini camp is wrapping up. We're not going to see the Ravens for 6 weeks. We might as well some footage up on the screen here and see what the boys were doing
Why
the
not?
past couple of days. Lots of cool stuff. I mean, you see every time you see Henry is for me, right? Every time I see Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson doing like a handoff or something like that, it's just beautiful to watch because you just the more and more I see it, the more and more I try to imagine myself. I try to put myself in the shoes of a defensive coordinator and try to like imagine like, okay, what are we going to do to stop this lethal attack that's coming down the
Mhm.
pike, when we play the Ravens this upcoming Sunday. And I don't have any answers. I'm no
Yeah.
football coach, but like it's going to be interesting to see how the Ravens kind of you know how we were saying a couple years ago, Alex, how um the Ravens how in 2019, okay, in 2019 the Ravens took the league by storm with Lamar Jackson. And then
Mhm.
the league adjusted in 2020, so there was some natural regression there, right?
Yeah.
Now, my thing is this, right? With the Ravens this year, I think that we are still going to be able to catch teams in the league off guard because we have this new piece in Derrick Henry who's going to add a totally new element to our offense that defensive coordinators are not accustomed to seeing when they play for him. You have to worry about the running backs because of how good and how efficient we are running the football, but not just because of how dangerous the running back is
Yeah.
necessarily, right? I think Derrick Henry is probably the most dangerous running back we've had since, oh man, I don't know. I mean, you have to go pretty far back, like in terms of
Yeah.
like this guy can break open a game at any moment, or he can wear you down. Yeah, can you give me one? Like,
We haven't had one in the past 3 years. I think Gus, after his ACL, wasn't the same. And that's no knock on him because him in 2020 and 2019 was a monster. It'd probably be since Mark Ingram since the 2019 year, probably the best. I mean, Keaton Mitchell last year, when you saw what Keaton Mitchell can do, that little spell, the Seahawks game and therefore up to the Jags game, he was somebody you had to worry about whenever he was on the field. He was making plays. Probably it's 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. I'd say since the Mark Ingram year. I mean, if we're gonna go by stats, Pro Bowl running back that year. So you have another Pro Bowl All Pro running back now. There you go. So I'd probably say since Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram.
Yeah. Or
I
Gus,
still can't
2020.
agree there. I still can't agree there though. When I say dangerous, I mean like a guy who, again, a defensive coordinator has to plan the game around. You know what I mean? Like that kind of guy.
Then we
I
haven't
didn't
had one
really
since Jamal Lewis. If it's
Yeah,
one of
I
those.
was gonna say that. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis. Now we'll see what a 30-year-old Derrick Henry has left in the tank, right? I understand he's getting a little bit older, but I definitely think that he's gonna be one of those veteran Ravens that comes in and turns back the clock. We've seen a lot of guys do it on defense, a couple of guys do it on offense as well. But I think Derrick Henry is going to be one of those guys. I think, of course, he's. I've been saying this since we got him. He's rejuvenated. He's motivated to be on this team. So yeah, I'm excited to see him play. Now we do have some questions here in the chat I wanted to bring up. There is one from our guy K Dog. He says, "Will
Yeah.
Jalen Davis make the field this season? He walks out that door like he is the man." Um, you know, in my analysis, Caleb, I would say he does make the field this season. Especially considering we'll get into this a little bit later. There's a couple of guys in our secondary who are a little banged up, and in like the dead middle of the offseason, which is a little bit concerning, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So I think that the Ravens will do their due diligence in keeping a good amount of DBs on the roster, and I think that Jalen Armour Davis going into his third season, right?
Yep.
I want to
Yep.
say. Yeah, going to his third year. He's one of those guys who's kind of been tried and true. He shows up for work. The way that John Harbaugh and the just talk about him, like, he's turning into a true veteran. He's comfortable out there. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So I think that with that being said, he's going to have a spot on this team. And I think maybe later in the season, when we're naturally going to have to rotate guys in and out for wear and tear over the course of a long football season, he might have some playing time. So yes, I do think that he makes the field this season, K Dog.
I think he can stay healthy. That was his problem the past 2 years. Only memory I have of him on the field was the week 2 game against the Dolphins in 2022 when we blew that 28-point fourth quarter lead. Jalen Waddle beat him on a touchdown. But we could use as much DB help as we can get. This is a great way to kind of transition into more mini camp talk. Is Marlon Humphrey, number one. He's been out there on the side. John Harbaugh kind of mentioned today he's still dealing with an I word, unfortunately, that he dealt with last year. And he hasn't been able to participate. But Harbaugh expects him to be there for training camp, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not worried about it because I kind of am. There's a small glimmer of me. It's like, all right, still something's going on, and the season ended in late January. It's worrying. I'll tell you that. I hope it's nothing. But once training camp comes around, we'll truly see more of it. But just hope he can get healthy because we need him and Brandon Stevens 1 and 2 because the division just got better with receivers wise. I mean, you look at the Browns; they go and get Jerry Jeudy to pair with Amari Cooper. The Steelers they go and draft Roman Wilson along the have with George Pickens, and then obviously the Bengals are the Bengals. We don't know what's going on with T Higgins. Hopefully he gets traded. Just hoping that. But if he doesn't, this is gonna be chasing Higgins again, and then we got to play all these fantastic teams with great receivers. So hopefully Marlon can get healthy, and hopefully it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree there, and you said all the right things when it comes to like the football part of it, and I'll also add to it, not to mention, you know, Marlon Humphrey's a top five paid on this, so like it is worrying that our what 90 something million-dollar cornerback is dealing with nagging I words in the middle of the off season, because we know that in the regular season. You can either a lot of those guys, of course, are going to be playing hurt just by nature, right? But like,
Yeah.
my thing is this: it's just we saw what a Marcus Williams did when he was out there playing hurt. He ended up
Yep.
being a liability in some cases, and that's honestly the last thing that I would want for any of our DB, especially Marlon Humphrey, who's been so good for us for so long. But yeah, I mean, just from the football side of it, like you mentioned, then from the kind of the business side of it as well, especially when you want to consider the Ravens championship window, which I think is, if I want to be quite frank with you, really closing. It's not getting any wider, especially the more that we're going to have to pay Lamar year by year. We have about this year and next year,
Yep.
and after that, we're going to have to start making some major cuts. We're going to have to start relying on a lot of young guys. So, I just hope that Marlon Humphrey can get better and really, show out this season because we're going to need him. Because like you said, the division just got better.
Yeah, and you say a top five player on this team. He's a top five paid corner in the league, and he got paid in 2020. So think about all the
Yeah.
corners that came in and got paid as well. He's still like, I saw a list. It was like the top five paid corners, and I see his name right there. And I'm like, wow. The fact his name is still holding that weight because you think about quarterbacks. A quarterback that was paid 2 off seasons ago isn't going to be touching the top five paid quarterback. Just the way it goes. But the corner market's crazy. So it just goes to show how many elite quarterbacks there are in this league and the way they get paid. And then there's like that drop off to like a tier two. But we do need him healthy. He missed a couple of games last year. Wasn't healthy at all last year, I think, to be honest. Always dealing with something. I mean, we haven't seen a healthy Marlin. It's 2022. He was healthy, but 2021 is when he got hurt against the Steelers. Um, yeah, just need him to be good to go because him, Wiggins, Stevens, Millette, Hamilton, Marcus Williams back there, that's a scary sight for offenses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when healthy, this secondary is hands down the best in the league, hands down. Just from again best safety tandem in the league. Some people would argue it, but you have to argue it, right? Because they're up there. The cornerbacks, Brandon Stevens and Marlon Humphrey, and then oh yeah, by the way, we just got the best corner in the draft. It's just man, the rich get richer, and we've always been rich on
Yeah.
defense in sort of a way. And this is another one of those cases where we continue to get richer and richer on defense. Luckily, we have a Lamar Jackson to kind of like balance things out, and that's why we're so damn good. Kind of tooting our own horn there, but yeah, I mean,
Oh,
we'll see what this defense puts out this season. Go ahead.
speaking of extensions, the Jags just signed Trevor Lawrence to a 5-year, $275 million extension.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So let's take that off the screen really quick. Okay, go ahead and run that back for me.
Um, Adam Schefter just tweeted this out. Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence reached an agreement on a 5-year, $275 million extension, including $200 million guaranteed and $142 million at signing.
Got it. Okay.
55
Okay,
mil a
that is
year.
55 mil a year. And what's our guy Lamar making?
He was at 278. Wait, 280s one maybe. I don't know. You have to overpay quarterbacks now, but Trevor Lawrence has like the most, I think, fumbles in the league of a quarterback in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this brings back a conversation that's been being had for a while now. Um, is do you think that this is the right way for teams to kind of run their franchises with just the constant inflation that does not seem to be stopping of quarterback prices? You know what I mean? And it's not even like you have to be MVP level or even anywhere sniffing that
He has
type
a
of quarterback.
he has a good coach. Peterson, I think, is a good coach. They gave him Calvin Ridley last year, and what the hell did they do? They didn't make the playoffs. Was he hurt? Thank God. Up to believe FC. Yeah. What the? I mean, Jeremiah says, "What else are the Jags supposed to do, though? For real? I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's a good quarterback. It's better than playing the quarterback carousel. Some teams do, but wow.
Yeah, I don't sometimes I don't know what these NFL teams' true philosophies are because like on one hand you can have like a guy like a Matthew Stafford, right? Who can, go through it for the bulk of his career and then finally break through at some point, and it worked out that way. It pans out. But in other scenarios, like, you just have a quarterback kind of dying on your roster. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen to Trevor Lawrence over the next 5 years, and that's what his deal is, 5 years, 275 million. But if the goal is to truly win a Super Bowl every single season, like why wouldn't you keep taking swings until you catch that lightning in a bottle? I just that's just me because Trevor Lawrence really hasn't shown me much to constitute him getting this sort of contract. But I mean, I guess it's just the nature of the NFL we're into. That's how they're
And
doing business.
just like I was talking about the corners, the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL on a per year basis. Number one, tied Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, 55 mil a year. Jared Goff, number two, 53 mil a year. Herbert, 52.5 mil a year. Lamar, 52 a year, and Jalen Hurts, 51 a year. And only quarterback, well, one quarterback not in that is Patrick Mahomes, and he's the best quarterback in the league by far, which is crazy to think about. So that's showing you how to run a team. They're running that team like the Patriots ran the dynasty Patriots. Like their quarterback isn't making an absurd amount of money. He's making money, but they're allowed to put a team around him, which is crazy. But some of the names above Lamar is crazy, crazy.
It it is, man, and it's a quarterback league, and I guess these GMs and these owners largely are sitting down and saying, like you said, it's better to kind of be mediocre, right, and a little bit like bang average, like you used to say all the time, than to
Yeah,
like be completely lost in the sauce when it comes to your quarterback. You know what I mean? Like I get that, but at the same time, again, if your philosophy as a team is to win a championship every single season, make sure you have some damn good coaches, right? That way you can
yeah,
cycle guys in and out, and eventually one of them is going to be a match, right? It's like, I don't know, if you have really good coaches, I guess it's kind of like being on one of those dating apps or something like that. If you have really good features, really good, things like that, you're going to get more matches, right? You're going to be more likely to find a good match for you. At least that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's a bad analogy. Alex is laughing at me,
no,
but
no, it's facts. It's facts. It's facts. It's facts.
but
That
yeah,
was a great
man.
analogy.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just if you have some good coaches, I just think that you can take one of these college guys who are like kind of raw, like a project, Kind of like a Patrick Mahomes, right? He wasn't number one drafted overall, but he went to a really good situation with a really good coach, and you see what happened. So I don't know. I feel like these teams got it a little bit backwards, but who knows?
Yeah, and I think that's why, hitting on quarterbacks is so important. I feel like that's why we've seen some teams kind of reach for quarterbacks in the draft recently, because they're hoping
Hmm.
they get the next thing that they can develop into that quarterback. I want to pose this question to you and to the chat. How much is Brock
Okay.
Purdy going to get?
Well, see, that's the thing. See, Brock Purdy is in a fabulous situation because he's already with the really good coaches. He's already been to a Super Bowl, and he's made a lot of good. He makes good decisions. He's a great game manager, but he can also make a play. We've seen that happen as well. So, I mean, he just doesn't have like that kind of X factor ish ability that I guess you could say if you're a Chris Sims, that unicorn ability like a Josh Allen, like a Lamar Jackson. He's kind of similar comp wise. You can compare him to Joe Burrow. You can compare him to Joe Burrow just a little bit. I think Joe Burrow's on another level. Joe Burrow's just not in as good a situation. If Joe Burrow was on the 49ers, if you stick Joe Burrow on the 49ers, they're winning. They've won at least 2, 3 championships by now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But
I mean, they win this year, I think.
yeah, yeah. If you put Joe Burrow on the 49ers, I think they've won at least 2 Super Bowls now. But yeah, he's gonna get his bag. He's gonna get his money because the 49ers, they've made a match with him. They've matched, and there's no reason for them to kind of give up him. It's like, what do? You go back to taking swings on guys like Trey Lance, you know? They already got the formula. That's why 49ers are so good. They did it right. They got the coaches right first. Then they
Mhm.
can bring in the quarterback and they can make the marriage out of the two. But yeah, yeah, he'll get his money. He'll get his money. What do you think though?
Yeah, I think so too. It won't be. I don't think it'll be 275 million, but I can see a 5 year 200 or something like that. He'll be set. He won't be sitting here, on the street asking for change. He'll be set. It won't be a top deal, but he'll still get the money. I'm not worried about it, and they'll
All
still be a great team.
honestly, all he has to do is make it back to the NFC Championship game. I don't even think he has to get to a Super Bowl. If they get back to an NFC Championship game, they are going to back up the Brinks truck for Brock Purdy, and he will be paid. He will be the highest paid quarterback. It's going to be shocking to everybody. That's when everybody's going to really wake up. But wait a minute, you're going to give this game manager dude the most money in the league? At least with Trevor Lawrence, former number one
Yeah,
overall pick, people still don't know what his true potential is because of what he was able to do in college as well, especially with running the football. But Brock Purdy, man, he's gonna pay big time, big time.
I am very happy we paid a quarterback because I'm looking at the Cowboys right now. Certain quarterback is out of contract soon, and they're dealt with a dilemma. This just screwed them, I think. They're going to have to pay Dak a good amount of money if they want to keep him because of this contract right here
Ooh,
and some of the
good
previous
point.
ones. Because you look at what Trevor Lawrence has done and what Dak has done. Um, I'm not saying it's the same situation at all, but caliber of quarterback, it's crazy. I mean, age-wise difference, but they're going to look at this and Dak's like, okay, like Dak right now is salivating at this contract.
Yeah, and you know what? You bring up a good point about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, if I remember correctly, he was one of kind of the first quarterbacks to get one of those super max type of deals, with the Cowboys a couple of seasons ago. At least one of these new era type of super max deals where it's like crazy, crazy money where we're questioning like, whoa. But Dak Prescott, he is probably gonna be one of the, if not the richest quarterback in the league after he gets
Yep,
his next deal.
yep,
And it's crazy that all of that is kind of like a byproduct of being a Dallas Cowboy, if you think about
yep.
it. Because I mean, you don't even have to win Super Bowls. Just keep the Cowboys relevant. If you just keep the Cowboys relevant, you will get your money. Do not worry. They will take care of you. And I think that's a little bit of desperation on Jerry Jones' side. Because if there's anybody who needs to take swings at quarterbacks, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys. I think that they hold on to guys for way too long. They are an esteemed franchise. Of course, what, a bunch of Super Bowls. I think like at least 6 Super Bowls. They 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 have acumen. They have the wherewithal to kind of get their shit together when it comes to the coaching staff, and then just kind of draft quarterbacks, and eventually they'll match with one. But I don't know, Jerry Jones. Maybe he's just loyal to his guys a little bit too much. I think he's
Like
overrated
Zeke,
too, Boz. I think Dak
like
is overrated.
what they paid Zeke
Oh,
in that running back
yeah.
market. was crazy. And I mean, he might even go back to them, which is crazy. And then, oh my gosh, but they didn't want to pay Derrick Henry. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Kirk Cousins has made a lot of stinking money, 3 big contracts. Yeah, well, Tannehill's made over
Yeah.
200 million. Yeah, with Dolphins, and then he's a free agent. Like Tannehill right now could retire and just be cool with that. Like if I'm Tannehill, I'm not even thinking about playing
Chilling.
football no more. You've made over
Oh
200
yeah.
mil. You had a crazy run in 2019 with the Titans. You were a 1 seed like 2 years later. What else is
It's
there
like,
for you to
bro,
do? Because you're not going to be
at this
starting.
point, just go be an analyst.
Or pull the Phillip Rivers and just coach your high school. Be the head
Yeah,
coach. You know, like
literally.
it's so. Yeah, good on Trevor Lawrence though, getting that money. I'm never gonna hate on a man get money because it's deserved for a quarterback. It's a tough freaking position to play. I see those POV angles the Dolphins put out with Tua, and how fast you have to analyze defenses and making those throws in those tight windows. It's crazy. But this can move us on
Yeah.
to our Ravens topic. That was kind of just got us out the way. That was some breaking news here on Purple Rain Live. Um, Lamar
Yes.
Jackson said some interesting stuff. Title of the video: Lamar said this about Ravens wide receivers. He wants to hold some throwing sessions with teammates, something he's been criticized of recently in the past, not getting together with his receivers and throwing to them. But we have seen that years prior. Went to Arizona, was throwing to Bate, Andrews, and Marquise Hollywood, I think in 2021. Um, sounds like nothing's planned for now, but he jokes some guys don't want to leave their state. What did you tell me about a joke?
Yeah, man. I mean, all good jokes contain true shit. That's what I told you before the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, some guys don't want to leave the state. Who could it be?
Yes. Who could it be? That's that's the next question. I mean, let's back up for a second. I think that the fact that Lamar Jackson, as guarded as he is with the media, he normally, of course, he jokes around things like that, but he never really gives you hints like this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the fact that he was willing to say that, I think he was trying to send a message. I think he was trying to send a message to somebody. He knew somebody would hear this. Nelson Aguilar just got done saying how Lamar Jackson is a very cerebral guy. I think that he did this. This was no mistake. This was no mistake. Like I said, all good jokes contain true shit. So he's talking about somebody, obviously, right? But the question is who? Now, there's been a lot of speculation. The first name that people were kind of jumping to on the internet was one Rashad Bateman. Dre brings it up here. He definitely seemed to be calling out Bateman. Alex is shaking his head. Alex, what do you think?
I don't think it's Bateman. I don't think it is. Um, I kind of have a name that people don't expect. I want to hear who you
Oh,
say, but it's really not a big deal right now because I think that we'll all get together. But I don't think it's Bateman. I think him and Bateman are gonna definitely be thrown together.
okay, okay. So if it's not Bateman, because I think it's Bateman, if I'm gonna be completely
Okay,
honest and
that's
honest
fair.
with you,
Okay.
I mean it's just if not Bateman, maybe like a Nelson Aguilar. But if it was Nelson I still wouldn't see that because he was just with Nelson Aguilar right before he went up there, unless he was
Yep.
kind of like
Yep.
taking the indirect shot at him because he knew he was
Yep.
in stage left or whatever.
Yep.
Um, but I don't know, man. But at the same time, I could definitely see it being Bateman as well. We know
Okay.
our Bateman likes to kind of do his own thing. He's kind of an eccentric guy a little bit. I'm not gonna say a diva, but he likes to do his own thing.
Yep.
And I could see him kind of turning down, an opportunity to go work out with Lamar Jackson or Zay Flowers so he could go to Paris Fashion Week or something like that. And I don't blame him. It's June. You can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I understand Lamar as well. He's trying to get the team better. He understands what it takes to kind of break through to that next level, and that next level being a Super Bowl, and that makes that you have to make sure that your wide receiving core is in tip top shape. So I understand why Lamar Jackson wants to get down there. But this is just it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Who do you think though?
The chat is right there with me. Jeremiah says it. Cam says it. Mark Andrews, the guy who he has the most
Mm,
chemistry with. Never see him in Florida. This is no disrespect. Like, I love Mark. Never see him in Florida. And I've been on TikTok a lot recently, and his girlfriend has been popping up on my For You page, and they've been together a lot. All right. I'm a guy. All right. Listen. We've all been there. We've all, gotten that girl, and we want to spend a lot of time with them. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty, and I put other things, behind what I should be doing. I think it's Mark. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's still a top 2 tight end in the league, and he's still going to cook this year for probably 1,000 yards. But I think it's Mark Andrews.
So that is a nugget of news that I was not aware of, Alex. So thank
Yeah.
you for
It's
enlightening me to that.
so
Says
catch
Alex
another
spitting
story real quick.
facts. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a story that came out. Like, the reason why Mark came back so quick was because his girlfriend's family has a hyperbolic chamber in their house. Swear on everything I own. You can look it up, and
Yeah,
that's why he came back so fast last year.
yeah, yeah. I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that is crazy
Yeah,
though. Now thinking back on it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Like I said,
he's probably in love with that girl. I mean, I'm surprised.
we've
Are
all
they
been there.
married? They're not married, are they?
No.
Huh, interesting.
But she's on TikTok. He's popping in the back of one of her dances in a typical Mark Andrews fit: the white shirt, the black pants, the
Yeah.
oversized H&M shirt. But yeah, I mean, it's all good.
That's very interesting. I mean, wow. I mean, I guess we'll see in the next 6 weeks. We will definitely have our answer, as to like who it is. Because I definitely think Lamar Jackson next week, right? Next Monday, sometimes next Monday and next Friday, we're probably gonna get a photo shoot of Lamar Jackson in South Florida working out with somebody. If not next week, maybe
Yep.
the week after next. And you can bet your ass Zay Flowers is gonna be there. Um, and I don't know who else is going to be there necessarily, but hopefully Bateman is there. But if Mark Andrews isn't there, and you're right about this, then yeah, that's interesting. Now this piece actually kind of leads us to our next topic here. Harbaugh, John Harbaugh,
Mm-hmm.
earlier today, he was talking about another tight end on the Ravens
Mm,
roster who goes by the name of Isaiah Likely.
mm.
And he was saying he was giving a lot of praise to Isaiah Likely, and he ended his sentiment by saying Isaiah Likely will be a very big part of what we do this year. So, we saw the connection that Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely had after Mark Andrews went down about halfway through last season. I think that the Ravens, what their game plan is to build upon that chemistry that they started building last year, start mixing in Isaiah Likely in some more Mark Andrews spots, giving him some of those looks. And maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say it like this. We talked about it at one point on the pod, but Mark Andrews could be possibly on his way out of Baltimore in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, I hope not. But
Hope not.
we've seen the Ravens. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can do that sometimes.
Hmm.
And draft your replacement. We've seen it. Seen it well
Yeah.
too. Seen it with their linebacker last year. But yeah, I definitely think it could happen. But I mean, you think about Isaiah Likely last year; he was cooking. When he had a big game, we won that game. The divisional game
Yeah.
against the Texans had a big touchdown, had a catch where he catches it, stiff arms the guy, gets some more yards after the contact. Why not have all our weapons on the field at once? Like you said, we line them up in the slot, confuse defenses. Do whatever you can, Todd Monken, to just confuse other defense and win games. And yes, like K Dog says, please smash that thumbs up button. Helps us out a lot.
Yeah, I think that, and thank you, K-Dog. Now, I think that this Todd Monken, Ravens offensive coordinator, he's going to be implementing a lot of 12 personnel. In the Ravens 12 personnel, this is going to be absolutely terrifying, I think. Um, so 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends. If you have Derrick Henry as the running back in the backfield, and then you have Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews lined up opposite
Mm-hmm.
sides, and then you have Bateman at the X and Zay Flowers somewhere
Mm-hmm.
as well. That is going to be incredibly hard. Like to lead the episode off with, I've been kind of trying to put myself in defensive coordinator's shoes, wondering how you're
Yep.
going to scheme to stop the team. I think that
Yeah.
it's to the point now. I have not felt more confident about our roster offensively going into a season since I don't know when, bro. I don't know when. It's
I,
been years.
I felt, I think, more confident last year with Odell, Nelson, Zay,
See,
and Babe. But you make a good point because our
mm,
running back, I was banking on J.K. Dobbins being healthy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I should have known because he wasn't even. There was times in training camp we weren't seeing him. Was he gonna be ready? Oh man! But with Derrick Henry, it changes a lot.
Changes a lot, man. I mean, there's just so much you have to game plan for. Again, as a defensive coordinator, as a defensive coach, as a defensive line coach, it's just so much you have to game plan for a Derrick Henry. And it's like, oh yeah, also you have to have two separate film sessions for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Like two separate
Great
film
point.
sessions. And that's just a lot more time and a lot more for the defenses to remember going into the games against Baltimore, especially since this is the first year that any team is going to see us with a Derrick Henry in the backfield. So that's the biggest reason why I feel so strongly about this offense going in. Now, the
Yeah.
only caveat is the offensive line. We've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to see how that shakes out, and Harbaugh was asked about that as well today. He said, of course, the typical answer you hear in June. These guys aren't in pads yet, so you really don't know who's winning
Yeah.
in the trenches. So
Yeah.
we got to wait until training camp to see, who's kind of emerging towards the forefront of being the starters on the offensive line.
I do have a tweet I want to bring up about minicamp real quick. Kind of just like some
Okay.
stuff, some 7-on-7 stuff that Lamar hit.
You
So it
want
says
to
Lamar
send it to me
Jackson
real
hit.
quick, or
Yeah,
so I can
yeah,
bring it up?
yeah. We can do that. Yeah, let me send it to you. I don't have Twitter on my computer, but I can definitely pull it up for you. But it was basically just kind of like what we've been doing offensively. And I think for me, it's some really exciting stuff because it involves our rookie receiver, Tez Walker. So I just sent it your way. So whenever you bring it up. But I think
Yeah.
relatively a lot of positive stuff out of minicamp offensively, I'd say. I know the other day there was like 2 interceptions Lamar threw. Zay had a fumble, and there was a bobble Derrick Henry catch that Brandon Stevens picked off for 6. That doesn't worry me because I doubt Derrick Henry will be used that much in the passing game. Um, but yeah, you see this tweet here. Lamar Jackson hit a few nice passes downfield during 7-on-7 work, rifling at the completion of Rashad Bateman in traffic, then arching a beautiful deep ball to Devontae Walker for a touchdown.
Mm,
This is where
yeah.
offense should be.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's funny. It's funny because normally you don't really hear about. Maybe I'm thinking about training camp, but normally you don't hear about the offense kind of clicking the way it's doing right now so early. You know what I mean? You hear a lot more like, oh, the defense was terrorizing them. The offense just can't seem to get in sync. This is kind of like the time of year for that type of news. And again, I might be mixed up with training camp since that's when they really start paying close attention. Guys are in pads. It's, as Kyle Van Noy says, bullets are kind of flying in a way. That is maybe it's a little bit different, but this is promising to hear. The one thing that stands out to me is the deep ball to Devontae Walker, because
Mm-hmm.
having another deep threat on the team, that would be pretty big. That'd be pretty big. Now, the other thing, Lamar Jackson has to start hitting these deep balls more consistently, and I definitely think that he can. But in the biggest moments, I need to see a little bit more of it. I need to see a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah, yeah. What do you got?
I mean, for me, it's the completion of Rashad Bateman in traffic. I'm assuming that
Mm,
that was like a, intermediate, 10, 15-yard pass, but that's what Bateman is. Like, that's what we know he can do perfectly, the one-timing stuff. And if we are finally playing Rashad Bateman to his strengths in year 4, shame on us. Because you know what you drafted when you took him in the first
yeah,
round, which is crazy. If it's going to take you 4 years to
I'll
finally use
take it.
Rashad Bateman, yeah, better late than never. And then we have him for,
Yeah,
3 more years, 2 more years, what the extension is. It just took this long to finally use number 7 the correct way. Like,
right.
the touchdown against the Dolphins, I don't want to go back to this, but how was that touchdown created? What type of play was it? Tell me.
Just a slant.
And we're sitting here sending them go routes.
Yeah, he's a chain mover, like a legit chain mover. Like if you put him as your first read, he will be open more times than not, especially in an offensive attack that you're a lot of loaded boxes going up against you because they're so afraid of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry standing in the backfield. So I mean, these receivers are going to benefit even more this year, and that's another reason why I feel so confident in this offense. Like again, the only caveat being the offensive line. We got to see how that shakes out. But God, man, I mean, I'm satisfied with what we got. I am so out on getting another veteran wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like, especially at this point with the guys that are
Yeah.
available. Um, but yeah, that's just me though.
Well, you bring up chain mover makes me just think I want to go back to 2021 and look at his first like 10, 11 catches that were all first downs and just watch him in all 22.
All first downs.
And I just want to put it
Yeah.
together and just we can watch it and just see
Oh yeah.
because that's how he should have been used. I know it was Greg Roman, but I'll give him this. He was using Bateman the correct way in 2021. That's exactly how you
Facts.
use him. And he was getting first after first after first down. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through and I'm going to have it together for Monday. I'll probably put it on Twitter this weekend when I have time. But that just,
Yes.
yeah,
Please
super simple.
throw it on Twitter because we need the Rashad Bateman agenda to be stronger than what it is right now.
Yeah,
Please put it on Twitter.
yeah, I got you. Gosh,
Cool.
he was cooking.
Uh,
Charger game,
yeah.
Viking game, Bengal
Let
game.
me see. See what other pieces of news we have here. Pull up my bookmarks of PRP stuff. Marcus Williams, you mentioned this to me before we went live. You said that he was kind of deflecting all questions in his media appearance today.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Because I was saying I don't, I think that maybe he's just trying to put it behind him. But what were your thoughts?
I didn't know. He said he didn't know when he got hurt, which is fair, I guess. But he's just not talking about it at all. Like, I thought about it and I kind of just thinking about what you said. Maybe he doesn't, just wants to put it past him because he wasn't able to play 75% of himself last year. He's playing with one arm. So that had to be really tough for him. The amount of pain he was in every game, making those tackles or trying to make those tackles. And yeah, I mean, there was a play against the Titans. I remember Marcus Williams healthy would have picked it off, but he had to like reach across his body like this and deflect the pass. I remember the play. It was in London, and I'm just like, yeah, he is nowhere
Oh
near
yeah, I
healthy.
do remember that.
And it was a
Yeah,
really awkward play, but he still deflected it. But Marcus Williams healthy is catching that and taking it, for probably 30, 40 yards, maybe a touchdown.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's just good to know that he's healthy now and he's ready to rock and roll for the season. Of course, since a lot of our guys are kind of struggling with a couple of things. I mean, we heard about Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton earlier this week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey dealing with a nagging thing. Yeah, man. So all in all, that's what's been going on with our Ravens. So the Lamar Jackson saying the stuff about the receivers going down to South Florida, you guys heard all about that. And then the mini camp news, mini camp wrapping up today, training camp starting in 6 weeks, guys. But here's the thing you got to look out for. Again, like I said, next week, look out for Lamar Jackson's Instagram because we're gonna get the answers as to who's not showing up to these South Florida stints. If Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman are there, we already know Zay Flowers is gonna be there. That's pretty much a given. But if Mandrews and Bateman are there, that's good news for us Ravens fans. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, go ahead and drop your questions down below in the chat. Yeah, get those going. Get the questions going.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna start naming off some free agents that are still available because
Okay.
the Ravens do a lot of work here. Some tackles: Donovan Smith, David Bakhtiari, Jason Peters, Charles Leno, guard Phil Haynes, Greg Van Roten, Mark Lewinsky, Justin Pugh, Trey Turner, former friend DJ Fluker. Don't need a center, thankfully. We have Tyler Linderbaum. Edge free agents. This is interesting. Emmanuel Ogba, Yannick Ngakwe, Carl Lawson, Jerry Hughes, Rasheem Green, Marcus Golden, Shaq Lawson. Defensive line free agents: Calais Campbell, Hassan Ridgeway, Lawrence Guy, Linval Joseph, Tyson Alualu. And then safeties, we dabble in safety sometimes, but Justin Simmons, Micah Hyde, Eddie Jackson, Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, Tracy Walker, J-Ron Curse. And then for corners, Xavier Howard, Dory Jackson, Stephen Gilmore, Pat Pete, J.C. Jackson, Nikhila Witherspoon. just going through there, we make
Couple names
some
stand out.
moves. We make some moves
Yeah.
around this time.
I mean, just for my heart says bring Calais Campbell back for another season. Calais Campbell actually played pretty well in Atlanta last year.
Yep.
I think that you bring him back to Baltimore, you plug him in with a Roquan Smith. You put Roquan Smith next to Calais Campbell. I, I just don't know. There's not a more. I don't even know how to put it. Like there's just not a more manly team, not a more manly defense in the league than a defense with Calais Campbell and Roquan Smith side by side. I'm sorry, but that's just it is what it is. But
Yeah.
him, and then also I saw somebody talk about Yannick Ngakoue possibly coming back and being a Raven. I wouldn't that either, to be honest with you. But you look like you disagree.
No, I'm actually agreeing because he was not good in a wing defense. You put him in a
Mm,
different defense. Like, imagine Jadeveon Clowney or Kyle Van Noy in a wing defense. Now
yeah,
imagine them in
yeah,
a Mike McDonald defense. Two completely different, stats and two different production for those guys. So if the price is right, I say why not?
you're right. That's a good point. Okay, let's bring up some questions here. We have a question coming from Optimistic O's fan. By the way,
Mm,
about 70 people watching live. Thank you so much for watching the Purple Rain
thank you.
podcast. We appreciate you guys. See, a lot of you guys are watching live on X right now. We appreciate that.
Oh,
Uh,
howdy.
yeah, howdy. About half of our viewers right now are watching on X. That's actually pretty cool. Let's see. Optimistic O's fan says, "What should expectations be for Zach Orr's first year as defensive coordinator?"
I
Hmm.
mean, got a lot of talent. Got a ton of talent.
Yes. Yes. I expect some natural regression from last year's performance. Not much at all. Not
Mm-hmm.
much at all. I mean, just there's a standard in Baltimore when it comes to defense, especially when you have the personnel, when the Ravens have the personnel. uh, You're gonna be top five in certain metrics, right? Whether that be, you know, rushing yards allowed per game or points per game allowed, things like that. You're going to be up there. I think it's no different this year. I think we're top five in least points per game allowed. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that Zach Orr and Kyle Van Noy was speaking to this today in his presser. He was saying that yeah, Zach Orr, he's like a super aggressive guy because he kind of coaches like he's playing in a way, like he's still on the
Yeah.
field. Like he kind of mixes it up with the players, just like still putting on pads. But he's also a very smart and cerebral guy as well. So I think that he'll have no problem picking up where Mike McDonald left off. Of course, it's a systematic thing when it comes to defensive coordinators
Yeah.
in Baltimore. It's a systematic thing. You kind of plug and play them. Some are a little bit better than others. Some have a little bit more strengths than others. But our realistic expectations, I expect some natural regression, but not much.
Yeah, we aren't going to be a triple crown defense again. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get that out the way. But we're not, we won't be number one in all these stats, but we'll still be a damn good defense. And I'm glad you brought that up about Zach Orr. He will coach the way he played. And if he still could be playing, he would be playing right now. We wouldn't have him as our DC. He'd be a starting linebacker either here or somewhere else because he was that good. So I'm expecting to be a good year. Obviously not as good as we were last year, but hopefully we have somebody that can pick up some of the sacks that we lost in Clowney. Mr. Owe, I'm looking at you. Kyle Van Noy said today he's going to be Owe's number one cheerleader. I see you loving out a big. You know I'm under all the
Yeah.
Owe hype. I'm there. I'm gonna take it all in again, but I needed to actually, I need that 8 sacks this year or 7.5, 8. Give me double digits, Odafe. We picked up that 5th year option for a reason, and then obviously Ojabo as well. But we'll have 6 more weeks to talk about Owe and Ojabo, the O brothers, and the potential they can bring.
Oh no, no, always a celebrity in about 6 weeks. Give it about 6 weeks. Owe is going to be an absolute stud. We are going to hear so much positive crap about Adafe Owe in training camp. I promise you. And look, I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm just this is just like automatic. It's automatic to give him that, right? You have to give him that, Alex. Like he's automatic in training camp, bro. Like, he is a training camp
They're
god,
gonna
bro.
put him on Gunner again in preseason on a punt. You're gonna see him lining up. It's gonna go viral. We're gonna have Bailey Gaither cooking Kyle Hamilton. That's gonna go viral too. While we're at it, What's
Yeah.
some memeable Raven stuff that's happened? It's always something. There's gonna be somebody at the open practice that's gonna get cooked or gonna have a crazy play. Um, yeah,
Oh man,
I'm
I
ready
cannot
for it.
wait. 6 more weeks. 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
Let me see. So Mod Boz in the house says Jamal Adams to Baltimore. Possible thoughts. I agree with Alex on this one. I'm a no go on Jamal Adams.
yeah,
I mean, I just don't think that she's worth the squeeze, especially considering, what we already have at safety and just our DBs overall. I mean, just and even linebacker as well. If you want to talk about that? It's just I don't know. I'm good on that, especially with the drama. I don't like how he was, taking the shots at the reporter, like, and I think it was like it's just not the type of stuff
yeah,
that we really want in Baltimore. Those type of distractions. Like I'm good on that.
yeah. If I'm saying no to an LSU player, there's a reason. Um, I'm Cam right there with you. He would take Justin Simmons over Jamal Adams. So would I. I think
Yeah,
Simmons allows Hamilton to roam freely. Him and Marcus Williams would be a great safety duo, and Hamilton can just be a unicorn and just go anywhere he wants to or wherever the defense wants him. Rush, cover, contain, all that. I would love that, but Jamal Adams, I just can't see it.
yeah, yeah. Same. Dre says here, should we be concerned about our edge rushers? Yes, that's my answer.
No, it's number two for me behind O line, but yeah, we should be a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say it's number one priority, but
Yeah, it's O
yeah,
line
you-
and then like
and then
drop
it's yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, edge. Yeah, I mean, I don't. There's a huge drop off. Let me say that it's not a huge drop off. There's like it's O line and then like edge rushers like right there. There's a little bit of space, but edge rushers right there. Because again, we got to see what Ojabo is going to do. I just saw a bunch of people popping in the chat saying, we need
Yeah,
Ojabo. They're believing in Ojabo. So, by nature of me being a Ravens fan, I am on the Ojabo train. Not
yeah.
Ojabo, but Owe. I meant
Okay.
Owe. Sorry. I'm on the Owe train, so we'll see what he does and Ojabo as well.
Yeah.
Of course, again, if you're watching this after the fact, if you're not watching this live, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Again, hello. Thank you so much for joining this episode 245 of the Purple Rain podcast. Make sure you like the video, leave a like on it, and, comment your question down below because we do get to the comments, the questions in the comments, rather. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. So, Alex, I wanted to ask you before we wrap up here. Did you watch the finals game last night?
I didn't. I just saw Luca got fouled out, and I
Yeah.
kind of saw
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, yeah, it's curtains. Congrats to Boston and the Celtics. Yeah, congrats. And the NBA
Yeah,
playoffs
my
is in.
Dallas and six pick is dead for sure. And I remember when I made that prediction, I told you I was, my heart says Dallas, but my mind says Boston. And with sports that I don't necessarily have, like my primary sports or not my prime sports, I go with my heart each and every time. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're asking me who to bet on for basketball or
Yeah,
like, football or something like that, like non-American football, then no, I'm just going with my heart, baby. That's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even worry about it. But when it comes to, like football or like American football, that is, or like UFC or something like that, yeah, I'm betting with my mind. I'm going with
yeah,
my mind. So that's just kind of the wisdom. If you ever want to take some gambling advice from Sutton Def, make sure it's the UFC or football. Uh, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
my
I know.
opinions, my opinion on that series though, real quick, is just like uh, Dallas. They simply cannot get enough quality looks. The difference is like the Celtics. Is my thing frozen? My thing is frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen. It's okay.
Oh crap! But you can still hear me though, right?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So it'll correct itself eventually. But no, yeah, with the Celtics, I mean, they're just getting way better shots than the Dallas Mavericks are. That's pretty much just plain and simple. But hopefully, the Dallas Mavericks can at least make it a series because I don't like seeing blowouts, man. I just don't.
No, no. Yeah, that's boring for the sport. I just thought NBA playoffs just hasn't been anywhere close to like where it used to be for me. I feels like I haven't had a good couple of playoffs in a year or so. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the finals. I think it's over. Congrats to the Celtics. And God asked you a question. Says, Sutton, who'd you have winning, Islam or Dustin? I remember your pick.
Oh
Remember it.
man, I had Islam winning every round. I mean, I did have Islam beating him like as my prediction,
Yeah.
by submission as well. But Islam beat Dustin every single round. It was still an entertaining fight, but Islam won every single round of that fight. So, uh, and then in other news as well, I mean, Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, that fight is on the ropes already. We
It didn't
just,
happen.
eh, I guess, right? And then also Hamzat Shemaev pulled out of his fight
Yeah.
today. I made a little video about that. It's a short on the channel as well if you want to take a look at that after this episode. Yeah, man. UFC in the month of June was supposed to be very, very good. Like the best since UFC 300 a couple months ago. But it's just all falling apart right in front of our eyes, and it sucks for the promotion because, those are some of the big fights. Hamzat Shemaev is a huge, huge draw. He's a huge name.
Hmm.
And not to mention Conor fucking McGregor. Like it's Conor. Like every Conor McGregor is damn near a household name. And
Yep.
he hasn't fought in a couple of years. You're finally gonna get him back, and boom, he pulls out again. So sucks for promotion, sucks for the fans, and hopefully they get their shit together because yeah, that shit sucks.
Yeah. Especially International Fight Week for that. I know
Yeah.
tomorrow starts the Euro 2024s, which I'm excited for. Germany and Scotland kick
Mm,
it off, so you'll have that for the next month. It's just straight soccer, and the Copa America. Actually, USA
yeah.
plays in that. USA drew with Brazil yesterday, which is a fantastic result considering Brazil played all of their big players, and we held them to a draw.
Mm.
So USA soccer, our coach is absolute ass, but we have some really good players. So definitely be on the lookout for all that soccer stuff.
Did you see that Christian Pulisic free kick goal?
That yeah, that was that. It was and the goalkeeper Allison is regarded as the best in the world. Not I don't think so, but he's one of the best in the world. So fantastic goal for Pulisic.
Yeah. I mean like I because I don't watch a whole lot of non-American football, aka soccer. I don't watch a whole lot of it, so I don't really. It's so rare to see like free kick goal. You know what I mean? Like that, and the way that he did it too is like most times I would see something like that. They would get more air underneath the ball and it would curve. Like kind of
Yep.
like the upper 90. That sort of thing. But this guy, I mean, he kind of like he just booted it, and it kind of reminded
Hmm.
me of like a kickball. Like you
Yep.
you have the kid in the kickball game who's like just got the bigger leg than everybody else, and like they just kind of like boot it, and it doesn't even necessarily go high, but it just goes so fast. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
just like kind of bouncing
Yep.
like low to the ground, and nobody can get to it. What it looked like, and I was just like, damn, that's so maybe yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have to watch. I'll have to watch this year. You got to let me know which games to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. For the Euros, I mean, there's a couple of tasty fixtures, but mainly the knockout rounds, which being a week or so, actually maybe two
Mm,
weeks. But the Copa Americas, that's some big countries like North American, so it'd be us, Mexico, Canada, and South American countries. So it's the first time in the Copa America, which will be it's important for us. And then we have the World Cup here in 2026, so it's a good litmus test to see where this country's at, uh, footballing wise. Then the Euros is going to be insane.
oh. So wait, in 2026, and last question before we go. In 2026, are you gonna go
Yeah,
one of the games?
I'm going to try to
Oh,
go.
you
I want to
have
see England
to.
play. So I'm not going to be able to see USA play because they're going to be on the West Coast. That'd be too much money. But I am definitely going to save up to see one of the bigger countries play. I want to see England because I'm rooting for England in the Euros this year. But if I could see a
So
Germany, I wouldn't hate that.
wait a minute. So wait, the is the World Cup's gonna be on the West Coast?
It's all over, but they confirmed the USA games are going to be played at SoFi and Lumen Field. But there's going to
Oh,
be other
I thought
games
all
from
the
other
games were played at
countries.
one central location. Okay,
No,
got it.
there's some. So the closest one to us, I think, is either New Jersey, which is the Giant Stadium, or Philly, the Eagle Stadium. And then
Mm,
Miami Stadium has one, Dallas, Kansas City, and then SoFi and Lumen.
mm. Okay, okay. Let me see. On God says here, Sutton, use your heart and give us
Yeah,
the Euros winner. I,
yeah.
I yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I don't even know all the teams that are in it. You know what I'm saying? I wish I
Germany,
could.
France, Portugal. Who do you know from? Give me soccer players that you know, and I can let you know.
Soccer players that I know. Ah, man, it's a bad time. You really put me on the spot here. I know more guys that are like probably a little bit like older, but
Okay.
if I had to go with my heart though, I'd probably say, and this is gonna sound dumb, right? Because I probably don't even know what I'm talking about. I would say Germany.
Bet. Listen. They're playing it in Germany. I bet you didn't even know that. They're playing it
No,
in
I didn't.
Germany. Germany's coming off. They're Germany right now. They came off of a bad Euros last time, a bad World Cup the past two goes. People are picking them to win this. That's a fantastic pick. Uh, my
Hmm,
favorite team, Arsenal, their starting striker is Kai Havertz. He's Germany's starting striker, and they have some really good young talent. That's not a bad pick at all. I'll tell you that right now. They're probably top two or three in odds wise, but it'd probably be France, England, Germany, the top three to win it, and then Portugal number four.
okay, okay.
That's a good
Shoot, and
pick.
when did you say it starts again? My bad.
Starts tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Germany, Scotland.
Tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna tune in. Kai Havertz,
That's
right? Yeah, I'm gonna
that's a
tune
good
in.
pick. That's a really
Okay,
good
let's
pick.
see. Let's see. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. It's been a great episode of look at the jersey. Look at the jersey.
Yeah, Germany. There we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a sweet jersey too. I like that.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave it there, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out to episode 245 of the Purple Rain podcast. Again, you can follow us on Instagram at Purple Rain Podcast, like you see down below. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def. You can follow this guy over here on X at SimplyAS10 and on Instagram at simply10.prod. And remember, follow him on TikTok. Follow him on TikTok, guys. I mean, you won't regret it. And then, of course, subscribe to him on YouTube as well. He's over 103,000 subscribers strong. So make sure he keeps growing on all those platforms, guys.
Thank you.
But yeah, also like we led the episode with Manscaped. Go on Manscaped, use our code PRP, save yourself 20% off of all of their products on their site, including the all-new Lawnmower 5.0. You felt it right, especially because Alex always talks about it's summertime, it's hot, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of men's hygiene products that help for when it's hot. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
take a look. Take a look and use our code PRP. You get 20% off plus free international shipping. Yeah. Again, want to thank all you guys bottom of my heart for coming out to this episode of the show. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to episode 245 of the Purple Rain podcast. As always, like the video, stay positive, and test negative.
Yeah. And never, ever, ever forget on the days to call God. It's been episode 245 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're going to catch